Hi, it's Paul here with a bit of a special. Now, obviously you're an F1 fan, that is the main reason that you're here. But did you know that TV star and Smartless podcast host Will Arnett is a big fan as well? In fact, he's such a big fan, he's launched his own new podcast called Fast and Loose, where comedy meets expert F1 commentary. Sounds familiar? In each episode, he's going to be joined by a rotating list of insiders, commentators, and even drivers like Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo, as they discuss everything to do with all the high-speed twists and turns after every race. And if that's not enough, F1 legend and double world champion Mika Hakkinen will be joining Will to provide his takes, post-race recap, and analysis. It's kind of like being in a locker room with all your favourite drivers, and best of all, Will's taking calls. So you can ask the drivers your most burning questions like, what's it like to drink out of a shoe? Who do you hate? Who do you love? Who stinks? You know, all important things like that. So now you're about to hear a preview of Fast and Loose, and you can listen to Fast and Loose on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts. To listen to it ad-free, subscribe to Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts or the Wondery app. Right, enjoy this, and we will have a show of our own for you this week too.
What was Michelle? Yeah. Michelle, let me ask you really quickly. What was you were talking to a lot of the drivers? You spoke to Charles Leclerc? We only got kind of the tail end of it. What was his vibe like? What was his energy like? Did he seem kind of, because they made a very, what we have described as a very strange tactical decision with the hard tires?
Yeah, no, in what I've learned now is very typical Leclerc fashion. He came in very head down, upset. It's weird that he blames himself almost solely for every single one of these weekends. When I get it, it's obviously always going to be partly.
He could have blamed me.
He could have blamed everyone. Last week he did the same thing, so he was very down on himself. And to me, just sort of watching this superficially, he seems to take it the hardest from everyone that's out here. There seems to be a little more sharing that goes on between driver and team, and with him, it seems to be a lot of blaming himself. It's very weird to watch, but watching Ferrari sort of beat Ferrari week in and week out, I'm sure is frustrating, and I'm sure the break won't be completely free of work. I'm sure there'll be a lot of conversations. At one point, Binotto left the track and went somewhere and then came back. So there's probably a lot of yelling and a lot of really, really good Italian cussing, which is my favorite part of the Italian language. And that's probably been going on a lot back there.
I think a lot of people getting sprained wrists and stuff just from hand gestures. It's strange to think that Leclerc, I mean, you're right. He also, not unlike Lewis, but without all the championships, he does this thing where he kind of takes it on and people feel okay to pile a lot of the pressure on him and for him to shoulder a lot in a way that Sainz doesn't. Obviously, Leclerc is kind of the senior driver on that team, and he's the anointed one really on that team. There's a lot of pressure on that guy on a team that generally has a lot of pressure on it all the time.
Yeah, and he's still so very young. I think for Lewis, it's just second nature, and he's been doing this for so long and doing it as a champion for so long. It doesn't even become a thought. But Charles hasn't had that kind of pressure yet, but he seems to be putting it already on himself. And you're right. Look, Mika can answer what it's like to drive for specific teams and whatnot, but I would imagine as just a fan and a fan of the car itself, just putting on that red and that horse and everything that it stands for and all the history that's behind it, that's pressure when you wake up in the morning. So for these young guys, it's interesting to watch how they handle this week in and week out. And I do think Sainz handles it better, and we'll see if that ever changes.
Formula One drivers live life in the fast lane, both on and off the track, and Wondery's new F1 podcast, Fast and Loose, is here to cover it all. From McLaren to Ferrari to Mercedes, and from Lewis Hamilton to Daniel Ricciardo, the world's most prestigious and fastest F1 teams challenge each other on the world stage. On Fast and Loose, you'll hear from the top drivers, managers, and team owners to get inside access into the high-stakes drama of the chase to win the greatest racing competition. Listen to Fast and Loose on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also listen ad-free by subscribing to Wondery Plus in Apple Podcasts or the Wondery app.